You have to gold digger test these women these days, and you probably always did throughout history. Guys, my name's Brian. This is a Red Pill channel about self improvement, getting financially fit, physically fit, and just improving ourselves in general, and learning how to attract women and thinking about the psychology and not getting yourself all caught up on women who are just going to financially abuse you and pretty much just make your life a living hell, like we've seen with a lot of people. Um, I've seen a lot of nasty divorces. A lot of people I know, they've went through marriages, already divorced. They're in some kind of weird custody battle. It's just nightmarish. So a lot of women are gold diggers, and there's a common thinking is that women are really kind of looking for women. Men are looking for women for their sexual like appeal, and women are basically trying to extract resources out of men. Now, I don't agree with that 100% personally. I think that, like, I love women. I mean, I like just like hanging out with a woman, like talking to a woman. I know a lot of guys will say like, "Nah, I don't really want to like hang out and talk to a woman and stuff like that." But I think that's weird. I think that if you're gonna be with, let's say, a chill girl, and it's not really that hard for a woman to really hold down a guy. They've got to essentially like keep their belly full, their balls empty, don't nag, and just be cool to hang out with. And be hot. Don't get too fat. I'm gonna have like a lot of people in the comment section. Oh, that's terrible. You should just love one for who she is. Well, if I'm physically fit and I'm educated, and like you're gonna like half of it's gonna be sexual attraction for both sides. Why would a woman want to be with a man who she's not sexually attracted to? That just doesn't make sense. She's settling. She's making a sacrifice there, just for financial gain. Not all women are like that, but there are a lot that are. And so obviously we see these gold diggers. And even if there's a girl that might be like kind of into you, you do get this impression they're means testing. One of the first questions that you see from a lot of these girls, if you're talking to them on an app or something, Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, that kind of stuff, is they'll say, "What do you do?" And I hate that question because I always feel like they're means testing you. They're seeing if you have enough money, if they think that what you tell them is going to provide them with enough money if they went forward and spent the time with you and stuff like that. So a few things that I do to digger test women. First of all, and I'm going to use Tucson, Arizona as an example. So I used to live in Tucson, and what I would do is like there's 4th Ave and there's downtown, and that's kind of the party area, or that's kind of the bars and like a lot of restaurants and stuff like that. So I would drive down there and I would park in a location that they wouldn't be around and see my car. So they had nothing to go off of there. Whether it was a good car or an older car or any of that, they just wouldn't know. So I kept that away. Then I wore something that wasn't super dressy, jeans and a t-shirt kind of stuff. And then I would meet them for ice cream. I'd always try to just do an ice cream date. I wouldn't want to spend more than $10 for the date, because at the end of the day, like if you're not able to even spend $0 and just talk to them and make them laugh and stuff like that, you're not going to get anywhere anyway. You can't make a woman laugh. You're just not going to get anywhere. So, it was just a lot of times just ice cream. There was this place called Sky Bar that had a telescope. You could go over there, go on the patio and look through the telescope and see the rings of Saturn and see Mars and all that stuff like that. And it was pretty cool. And you could talk to them out there where there wasn't as much noise and stuff like that. So that was always a good first date. Also, even if it's just ice cream or something small, I'd always look for an attempt to pay. Did they reach for their credit card? Did they reach for a debit card or something like that? Now, maybe you end up still paying, but you look for that attempt. If they make no attempt to pay, ooh, thin ice. Thin ice, thin ice, thin ice. And that is a main gold digger test. Also, sometimes I would tell some jokes, and I would talk about like Like, oh yeah, the drinks over at Maloney's are just too expensive and they're watered down and stuff. A lot of times I just mix a drink and put it in my trunk and I just like chug that before I go out there. And, kind of like unauthorized pre-gaming and make a joke about unauthorized pre-gaming. And if they thought that was funny, like, oh yeah, I do that too, or something like that, and be like, okay, this chick's cool. But if they're like acting like, ugh, that's just like ghetto, or like, why would you do that, or you know, like what, if they act like, oh, the drinks aren't expensive, or let's go here, then you got an issue. Also, if they're on Tinder and Bumble and all their pictures are kind of going out pictures where they're just kind of in this like dress and they look like high maintenance, it's not my type of girl. She better have a couple pictures that are kind of like hiking, outdoorsy, maybe like a hiking picture and a workout picture, maybe like one going out picture kind of thing. The girls and all their pictures are just kind of going out and they're all dressed up and stuff like that. I'm not gonna last long with them. I'm not, I don't even want to deal with them. The kind of girl that would probably be in like a sorority and just be like really materialistic and from like Southern California and she's never really had a job and her parents paid for everything. That is not my kind of girl. Also, a girl that is willing to ultimately camp in a tent at some point, or that she's done that and stuff like that, and she doesn't act like oh no way, I would never do that. Then the girls that will not camp or hike or do those types of things, they typically end up being like high maintenance. They're just not my kind of girl. So those are kind of some of the things that I look for. And I hate the question, what do you do? Like, if they ask that really quick, then it is a red flag. Watch out for that, guys. And and to see like what they respond and answer. Like, it's funny how if you say certain things or you give them a certain job title, they kind of act like it's sketchy. They're always trying to means test you. Like, for instance, when I was in Thailand, I met this girl from Houston, and she was with two other friends from Houston. And they asked me what I did, and I said, oh, I'm an IT consultant. But I was going to be there in Thailand for a month, and she was very skeptical of that. Like, well, how can you get off for a month, And she was essentially just continually trying to means test me and trying to figure out, okay, like, what do you do? And she was kind of jealous in a way, and she kept circling around. And then she just said, like, well, my dad says that anybody who says they're a consultant is just unemployed. And I said, well, your dad does not work for himself, so he's not a boss. Therefore, why are we talking about him? You just got to shove it back in their face, and shut them up sometimes. But again, sometimes you're never going to satisfy these girls. They have unrealistic expectations, and they're looking for a trillionaire space cowboy, but even if they met one, they still wouldn't be satisfied because he would have one tooth out of place or, whatever it may be. So, guys, don't get too caught up. Gold digger test these girls and try not to spend over $10 when you first meet them. And also just mentally test, will they drive to you? If let's say there's a 30-mile spread or something between you and them, try to see if they're making an attempt to potentially set up a meeting that's closer to you. Because what you notice a lot of times with these women, they want you to drive to them, you to pay for them, you to do everything. They expect you to do everything. And to be honest with you, you gotta put yourself in a position where either they're gonna kind of come towards you and it's gonna be more 50-50. Otherwise, they're not gonna be hanging out with you and they're gonna be following your Instagram stories to the end of time. So, guys, hopefully that helps just to sort through some of these gold diggers, because you don't want to get financially abused your entire life and just end up financially devastated because those same kind of girls that are going to financially abuse you, even on small dates and stuff like that, if you end up getting to a point where you're getting married to them, ultimately they might see a payday in getting divorced, and you could end up in some crazy custody battle if you had kids with them and stuff like that. It is a nightmare. I have seen it firsthand with some of my friends, so avoid that. Anyway, guys, please subscribe if you like this video. I got other videos coming out, and we will continue the conversation. Leave a comment below if you guys dealt with some gold diggers and what do you guys do to test gold diggers. See you later.